On the Puppet Show, we decided to travel far and wide, and we ended up in the region of Ankole. Yes, at Emburara Farm Lodge. And when we're here, we decided to say, you know what? Why not share the beauty that Ankole has? The beauty that they possess and that they give to Uganda as large. But then when we're here, we just didn't want to give you the real estate and all that comes with it. We also wanted you who's watching to know who are the people from Ankole? What do they do? How do they do it? What is their culture? And with that, we thought the best way to do it was to share this process with you that we actually engaged in. And this was the process of milking a cow and getting the milk ready for consumption. It was exciting. It was lovely. Well, now let's get into it. In Ankole, they milk a cow twice a day. That's in the morning and in the evening. But we're fortunate to milk the cow in the morning. This process happens from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Now, this process is very exciting, very detailed, very precise, and very concise. I was fortunate to take part in this process. I was fortunate to milk a cow. And they say ladies with long fingernails can't do most of housework or most of home chores and all that. But I milked a cow with these fingernails. I milked a cow. And I managed to process the milk on my own. It was so exciting. It was so loving. But it made me love their culture more. Now, I'm going to break down the process for you. I'm not a Mnyankole. Just to let you know, I'm in Uganda. So for some words that I won't be able to mention correctly well, I hope you forgive me. But for those that I'll mention well, I hope you also give me the credit. And I hope you can be able to take this journey with me as I explain to you the beauty of the Ankole culture. The process of milking a cow is called okukama ente. Now, okukama ente in English, like I said, is milking a cow. In Runyankore, it's okukama ente. We did this in the morning. We were glad to have the best team with us, the team at Emburara. Thank you so much. You were very knowledgeable, you were very helpful, and you were very patient with us. When we got to the farm, we were fortunate that we actually found a variety of cows. And we got to learn that these cows are named differently. We had some cows that were named Sina, Gashu, and Bihogo. Now, if you look at the video where I'm standing, you will notice there's a wide variety of cows. And these cows are just not randomly named. There's a background to their naming. There's a history to their naming. There's a reason to their naming. So you just don't wake up and say, name that one Christabel after me, or name that one Montel after my son. No. Just like we name our kids with a background and say you have to have your family name, and then I've named you after a character in the Bible, or I've named you after my great-grandfather, it's the same thing with the cows. And it was so exciting to know that history also. When we got to the farm, the most exciting part for me, of course, was milking the cow, which I got to do. Milk in Runyankore is called amate. But this is not what it was called from back then. Milk has just been called amate in recent years. But initially, back in the day, milk was called amashunino. But today it's called amate. Now, the process of milking the cow and preparing the milk goes hand in hand. After you finish milking the cow, like you've seen us milk, like you've seen me milk the cow, very exciting, I know. You should try it out there. And there's no better place to go and try it from like Emburara Farm Lodge. Oh my God, you'll feel the same excitement I felt. Anyway, back to the process. After milking the cow, each cow is milked in a different pot. Now, each pot has a different owner. Now, for example, a family has 5 people in it. That's the father, the mother, and 3 children. Each of these 3 kids has their own pot. And the pot in Runyankore is called a chanzi. Yes, the pots you see on the screen that we use to milk the cows, that we use to put the milk in when we're milking the cows, are called ebyanzi. If it's more than one, the ebyanzi. If it's one, ne chanzi. So each family member had their own chanzi that they would drink the milk in. And the interesting part about that also is that each family member had a cow where they would milk their milk from. Now, the father had his own cow where the milk would come from. For example, the father's favorite cow or fancy cow Fancied cow is Bihogo, his milk would come from Bihogo. Maybe the mother's cow is Sina, her milk would come from Sina. Maybe the children's cow was Gaju, their milk would come from Gaju. But each of them had their own pot and they knew their pots. Echanzi. Buyomo akaine chanzi cheye. Haza matege bakan bagatom chanzi echu, where they would drink from that. Now, after the milking process, the milk would be taken to a house that was called Obufuha. Now, Obufuha were grass-thatched houses. Back in the day, they were grass-thatched houses. But today, the house we entered in was a modern grass-thatched house, the today's grass-thatched house. But back in the day, they were called Obufuha. Now, when we entered this room, there was a lady we found. This lady was beautiful. This lady was elegant. When you look at her, you think you're looking at the Ankole royalty, the dress code, everything, how she was humble, soft-spoken. Oh my God, it was alarming to see that today, in today's era where women are fighting for emancipation, freedom, what? This lady, she gave a true definition to being a woman and being a lady. Anyway, we entered the house and we found her cleaning the pots. Now, the process of cleaning the pots is called okuyitirara ebyanzi, whereby she's cleaning these pots. Now, just to show you how much their culture is beautiful, respected, and just how rich it is. When we got into this place, I had magically and quickly sat down to get right into the process. But this lady actually showed me that there were certain things I had to do before just getting into the process of preparing the milk. So she got me up and dressed me in the proper attire that I had to be in to be able to perform this ceremony or this process. And the attire I got to put on is called busuti. In Runyankore, it's busuti or omwenda in Runyankore. So I was dressed and I felt like I actually belonged where I was. Now, after sitting, she got to take me through the steps of what to do to prepare the milk to be served to my darling husband, Mr. Msime. So, after we prepared the milk, now the whole process of her receiving this milk and preparing it is called okwachirira. That is to receive. Okwachira. Okwachira. Even me, that one, I know it. Na kwachira. I have received you. So, nayachira mataga. Amate aga. Agachira, and she prepares it. So, the process is called okwachira, to receive. So, when she receives this milk, then she goes ahead to prepare it for each family member to be able to drink. Now, as you can see, after it was prepared, we went ahead to serve Mr. Msime his milk to drink. And he said he loved it. I don't drink milk personally, but he said it was amazing.
How would I use this? It's very fresh. Yeah.
Now, when all that is done, she gets all the leftover milk from all the pots and pours it back into the echirere. Echirere ni cho change cho chimkureba screen echo. So she pours it back into this big pot that is called echirere. And then after pouring this back, nagashunda. So she starts to shake this milk. Okshunda is shake. So she starts to shake this milk. But just to take you a bit back, the previous milk from yesterday evening that they drank, when it's kept and, laid over for overnight, which is amakamu, when it's kept overnight, it becomes amakamu. That is your modern day yogurt, We have found ways to modify the yogurt today, but back in the day, this milk was kept overnight, and in the morning it would become amakamu, which was the yogurt that we drink, which is the yogurt that we drink today. But the Ankole people back in the day had found already a natural way to create themselves yogurt. That's why they call it the land of milk and honey. They are just blessed and fortunate and favored. Given the fact that we didn't get the process in the evening or the previous day, so the amakamu that came from yesterday's milk, drops of it is poured in this chirere. A chirerecho. She pours drops of the amakam, the leftover milk from yesterday, that in one way or the other becomes the today modern yogurt. Now, kwa drops za makam chirerechi. She then pours this all leftover milk from today's breakfast chirere nacho. Natanka gashunda. So she shakes that, just like you see on the screen. She shakes that big pot. She is creating what we call the ghee. Omzigo omzigo gwenti. She creates ghee. That is how the ghee comes out of it. Now, when she's done with all that, yaheza gashunda, she comes out to sieve it. Now, in the process of sieving it, she's creating ghee. Now, ghee comes out, and then also the leftover milk, the liquid from the leftover milk also comes out. And then now she has two things. She has ghee and namakam. So now the ghee was used to eat food. Now, I'll stop there because that was the process we were previewed to. That's the process we got the chance to get indulged in. But if you're out there and you'd like to go through this same process, then I would advise that you visit Emburara Farm Lodge in Mbarara. You'll be able to appreciate the same process we went through. It was beautiful. I hope you've learned something, because at the end of the day, real estate is just not building, it's just not land, it's just not infrastructure, it's just not commercial space, but this real estate also has people. So do you know the background of this real estate? Do you happen to know why Mbarara is built the way it's built? Do you happen to know why Kabale is built the way it's built? Do you happen to know why Mbarara's terrain is the way it is, or their climate is the way it is? Well, it dates back to their culture. It all goes back to their culture. And this time I wanted to put a spin to the show and show you some of these cultures. Before we show you the beauty that Mbarara has, the landscapes of Mbarara, the skylines of Mbarara, we also wanted to show you who they are and what their culture is like. And we're blessed to actually be accepted to share this with you. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it's a lot educating to you. I hope you're taking something home with you. Thank you.